This is the dark side of Mexico. Mexico is a country rich in cultural history. Starting with the Mesoamericans, who were the first known group of people in the region. However, perhaps one of the most well-known ancient Mexican civilizations was the Mayans. They were considered one of the most brilliant societies of their time and thrived between 250 and 900 AD. Spaniards landed in the territory in 1519, took control of the region, and called it Nueva España, New Spain. The territory separated itself from Spain in 1821 and was renamed the Mexican Empire. Throughout the 18th century, there were disputes over territories between Spain, Britain, France, and the United States, leading to changing borders several times. Mexican territory once extended beyond Texas and California, but these lands were eventually lost to the United States. While some suggest the United States had motives for taking over Texas and California, leading to the Mexican-American War, the reasons for the conflict were quite complex. Ultimately, the war resulted in the United States annexing both territories. As of the end of 2022, Mexico's GDP was recorded at $1,465 billion USD, while its GDP per capita was $10,077. Mexico might be the land of beautiful beaches, but not the Eerie Island de las Muñecas, Island of the Dolls, in Xochimilco. This island is also known as the Isla de las Muñecas, or the Island of the Dolls, and it's not for the faint-hearted. Located south of Mexico City, the island is covered with thousands of mutilated toys and dolls, hanging from ceilings, trees, boats, and other spots, serving as a haunting warning to tourists. According to legend, a local man named Don Julian Santana was overwhelmed with guilt after failing to save a drowning girl. Haunted by the girl's spirit, he decided to scare her away by collecting unwanted broken toys and placing them all over the island. For 17 years, he gathered dolls, mutilating, deforming, and scattering them around. Today, the island remains uninhabited, with only the dolls in sight, making it one of the scariest places on Earth. Many believe it is haunted. Locals warn tourists that while they are allowed to bring a doll as a present to the island, they should never take any away. Switching from eerie legends to nature, fish have their fair share of horrifying facts, but the Pacu fish from South America might be the creepiest for some, mostly because of their teeth. These fish are closely related to piranhas and have a rounded body that can grow quite large. Pacu fish reside in South American waters and are well known for their standout feature, an uncanny resemblance to human teeth. Unlike other fish, Pacu have square-shaped flat teeth, earning them the nickname ball cutters. This nickname stems from an urban legend surrounding Pacu fish, often associated with a testicle-biting myth. Although Pacu fish may look scary, they are herbivores and pose no real threat to humans. Their teeth are well adapted for eating plants, nuts, vegetation, and insects. They can easily adapt to their surroundings and thrive in non-native waters. Despite being a rising economy, Mexico faces a persistent issue that the country can't seem to shake: a high rate of teen pregnancy. In fact, Mexico has the highest rate of teen pregnancy among all OECD countries, with over 32.7 million girls becoming mothers. Shockingly, 6 out of 10 of these pregnancies occur around the age of 14. It's so common that you might find yourself encountering young girls with their children as you walk around a city in Mexico. One of the main causes of teen pregnancy is the lack of education and use of contraception. Mexico is considered a conservative country, and when young people are not properly informed about the consequences of unprotected sex, they are more likely to experience early pregnancy. What makes this a vicious cycle is that pregnancy is also one of the leading reasons young women drop out of school. As they become less educated, they are more likely to experience repeated pregnancies. Another shocking factor is that in some parts of Mexico, women with children are seen as more valuable than those without. This is largely because there are limited opportunities for girls, so becoming pregnant is often viewed as a milestone. If you're someone who's uncomfortable with public displays of affection, PDA, you might want to steer clear of the streets of Mexico. Mexico City, in particular, has been dubbed the PDA capital of the world. It's very common to see couples straddling each other in the park or in the midst of a makeout session. This is because Mexicans believe that expressions of love should not be hidden or seen as shameful. If you're wondering about the legal boundaries, it seems that the Mexican government is quite supportive of this cultural norm. In 2007, Mexico City decriminalized certain acts of PDA, taking a step toward a more liberal society. Even Guadalajara, considered one of the most conservative cities in Mexico, has approved of sexual relations in public view. However, there's one condition: Mexican police won't take action unless there's a complaint from the public. One of the reasons this law was established is to allow police to focus their efforts elsewhere. Some people in conservative towns are concerned that this law might lead to moral issues, but they can still lodge a complaint if they feel it's necessary. Additionally, Mexico has become a popular destination for people from abroad, including U.S. citizens, due to its affordable cosmetic surgery and medical care. Tourism is on the rise in Mexico, where it can be enjoyed at a fraction of the cost compared to other destinations, and the regulations are often more relaxed. However, this affordability and leniency come with significant risks. Sadly, some medical tourists have faced severe complications, including death. Patients have returned home only to find they were infected with antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Infections such as Pseudomonas can lead to severe outcomes like limb loss, lung infections, or even death. Many of these infections were caused by invasive weight loss surgeries that used unhygienic utensils. But that's not the only danger facing medical tourists in Mexico. In one case, 4 Americans were kidnapped by cartels while there for cosmetic surgery. Tragically, 2 of the group died, while the others were thankfully returned home safely. Mexico is often associated with its majestic pyramids, but visitors should exercise caution. Attempting to climb these ancient structures can lead to serious consequences. For instance, a tourist who climbed one of the pyramids in Chichen Itza was quickly reprimanded by the crowd and subsequently taken into custody by authorities. It's unclear whether she was aware of the cultural significance of these sites, but her actions were considered disrespectful. Understanding the historical context might have influenced her decision. In the 1980s, archaeologists discovered evidence of human sacrifice at the Feathered Serpent Pyramid in Chichen Itza, where more than 100 warriors were found bound and kneeling dead. Another pyramid contained the remains of wolves, rattlesnakes, golden eagles, and pumas, all sacrificed animals. Another dark aspect of Mexico is the issue of safety, poverty, and inequality that drives many people to flee the country in search of better lives. Many illegal immigrants have crossed into the United States, utilizing areas like Friendship Park, located on the San Diego-Tijuana border, to slip through. The number of migrant crossings has been rising again, with the area experiencing over 1,000 encounters a day. One silver lining amidst these challenges is the creativity that emerges from it. For instance, one artist has created a giant seesaw that stretches across the border, allowing children from both the Mexican and U.S. sides to play together. It's a striking image, especially considering the desperate migrants who risk their lives to cross the border. You might be familiar with the Bermuda Triangle, but did you know that Mexico has its own version of this mysterious phenomenon? The area is called the Zone of Silence, located in the northern part of Mexico. Unlike the original Bermuda Triangle, this Mexican version is a desert patch where compasses spin uncontrollably and radio or satellite signals fail. The first known incident in the Zone of Silence involved a pilot named Francisco Sarabia, who experienced malfunctioning instruments while flying over the area. Another notable event occurred in the 1970s when an American missile fired from New Mexico was drawn into the region. American authorities investigated and found that local magnetic fields were disrupting radio and satellite signals, creating what they called a dark zone. Some reports also mentioned strange encounters in the area, including UFO and alien sightings. If you're considering visiting Mexico despite these intriguing dark facts, here are a few tips to ensure a smoother experience. First, avoid speaking too much English in public. Speaking loudly in English can mark you as a tourist, and you might end up paying more for goods and services. Second, be cautious about using public restrooms. Mexican public restrooms may not always meet high hygiene standards, often lack sufficient toilet paper, and usually require a small fee for access. It's also wise to avoid flaunting expensive items. Wearing designer clothes or flashy accessories can make you a target for theft. Lastly, avoid disclosing that you're from the US, as this might lead to you being taken advantage of by locals. Exploring the darker aspects of Mexico offers a complex view of the country's challenges and struggles. However, it's important to recognize the resilience and spirit of the Mexican people in the face of adversity. By understanding these intricacies, we can hope that Mexico will continue to forge a brighter future, much like its ancient ancestors did.